Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, I didn't make a video yesterday. I didn't figure anybody really watch anyhow because there was some kind of game going on, some kind of big game. It wasn't even a role-playing game. I don't really understand, but a lot of people watched it. I broadcast some live plays. Some of my friends broadcast live plays. Sometimes I'm involved in them, sometimes I'm not, and not a lot of people watch them. But that's okay. That's not why we put them up. Mostly, at least speaking for myself and some of my friends that I know we've talked about this, we put them up more for our own edification, to be able to go back and look at them, to be able to analyze what really happened during the game. That often, we're learning the games, so at some point, we figured it at least a little bit useful. If somebody stumbles across this thing and watches somebody learn the game in front of the camera, kind of like that peek into what really goes on rather than some kind of polished version of people playing it. That's cool too. Doesn't matter, whether you watch it or not. We get a lot out of it. But one of the things that's happened over and over again, which makes me laugh, is very much like the end of this big game. There'll be all kinds of analysis and people talking about it for quite a bit of time. After the games, we talk about what happened. Not all the time, but very often. We'll have some time to chat about the game, what actually happened. Sometimes, depending on the group I'm involved in, we'll make separate reflections videos afterwards, or talk at a different time, and I've talked about this on my channel quite a bit. But very often there's this kind of magic that happens directly after the game where we all kind of start to unwind. Maybe we'll talk about what happened in the fiction, maybe we'll talk about what happened with certain mechanics, what was interesting, what was daunting, what felt different than another game, all that sort of things. And one of the things that seems to be incredibly true is when the broadcaster decides, okay, well, I'm going to stop broadcasting, or we're going to stop recording if somebody's using some sort of OBS software, which we're going to upload later, which I need to master because at some point Hangouts is not going to be here anymore, which is sad. Once that happens and we terminate the broadcast, terminate recording, then the really good conversation happens. This has happened over and over again. In Anthony's Leagues of Cthulhu game, the second session, the conversation we had afterwards was cool, but when he terminated the broadcast and then we talked for another 15 or 20 minutes, that was the real gold, and we were all like, wow, that's too bad, we should have recorded that part. And that's happened to me, several times. Fortunately, I think it was CGA's last Star Wars episode, we had a talk afterwards, and we did not terminate the broadcast until we all had to say goodbye. And that was cool because a lot of neat stuff came out, after a while of talking, where we were comparing, how the mechanics worked, and also about descriptors and how it was different than, say, something like Star Trek. And there's a lot of interesting stuff there. So often, those discussions really start to ramp up after a while. And I guess at the end of the day, the thing I've learned about this, and that makes me laugh, is that we should not terminate the broadcast. We shouldn't stop recording until we're really done. It's kind of like that old musician thing where you keep the tape rolling because sometimes the magic happens and you're never going to be able to go back and recapture that. So, what does this video really mean? Not much, but it's just something that I've noticed happen over and over again. And sometimes those discussions, after the game, those are real gold. That's some neat stuff. And so whether you broadcast or record your games or not, I encourage you, talk about the game after the game. See what comes up, because very often you'll be surprised at what starts coming out, in the group discussion after a few minutes. Have a good one, kids.